So many of you are waiting here. I can see that some of you are asking yaವಾಗ start ಆಗುತ್ತೆ sir. Class timing is 5 p.m. in the evening and 9 a.m. in the morning. Every day there will be a class at 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. So don't forget the timings. Okay, 9 a.m. morning today Ekta ma'am took the chemistry class. Now it's time for me to take the physics class. Okay, so every day 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. two classes will be there. Okay, and today we are going to discuss your PU1 chapter. So many of you have asked me in the past, sir, please do PU1, please do PU1, please do PU1. So PU1 chapters and important questions from that. We like to discuss questions based on, obviously, my style of teaching is teach via problems, questions. So we will do that. So first question is this: if x equals to a plus bt plus ct square, where x is meter and t is in second, then what is the unit of c? So this question is based on the chapter units and measurement. So x is given a plus bt plus ct square. Now the unit of x is given in meters. Just a second. So unit of x is given in meters. Then what is the unit of this quantity? Not a, not b, but this quantity. So we have to focus on this quantity. What is the unit of this quantity? Very important, very interesting question. Hello Amaya, hello Akshat, hello Hamzika. Sir, can you please take classes like this for Comet K? Akshat Kumar. Yes, we will be doing classes for Comet K. Comet K will start, I think, from next week onwards. So as soon as we start with Comet K, we will definitely inform you. Okay, there I think I have done a video. I was supposed to record a video where we are discussing top 50 questions of Comet K, but due to some unforeseen event, I can only record up to 25 questions. Remaining 25 questions I will record, and I will try to upload that as soon as possible. So you will get a top 50 questions of Comet K, including all the chapters P1, P2. So, but yes, the series of Comet K will start within a few days. Okay, don't worry about it. Okay, hello Imran, hello Flying, hello. So let's start. So solve this question. X equals to a plus bt plus ct square. So unit of x is given in meters. Now remember, when we write an equation in standard way, suppose a equals to b plus c. So when you are writing this equation, that means that the dimension or unit, dimension, colloquially units, both have same meaning. Okay, the unit of a, unit of b and unit of c should be same. So if you are adding them, the unit of all of these quantities must be same. Only same unit quantities can be added. But if I say that, okay, say x equals to y into z, then in that case we cannot say whether the units are same or not, and most likely the units are not same unless one of them is a dimensionless quantity. X equals to y into z, okay, units will most likely are not same. But if I say x equals to yz plus say k, then unit of x, unit of combined yz and unit of k, these three quantities must have same unit. Individually y and z we are not sure, but combination of y and z, it must have same unit as x. Okay, remember that. So whenever there is a plus sign, okay, all the quantities must be of same unit. But if we multiply two quantities individually, all quantities may not have the same unit. Okay, but multiplication total term will always have the same unit on this side. So here we have x equals to a plus bt plus ct square. That means all the terms a, bt and ct square, they all have the same unit as this. Okay, so the unit of ct square is meter. What excuse me, what is the unit of time? Unit of time is second. So c into second square is equals to m, so c equals to meter per second square. So the unit of c is meter per second square, so correct answer is option B. Okay, clear? So always remember, this is a very fundamental principle of dimension, that you can only add quantities which have same dimensions. Okay, you cannot add two quantities which have different dimensions. So kilogram plus meter is not possible. Centimeter plus meter is possible, because eventually centimeter can be converted into meters. Okay, kilogram plus meter is not possible. Meter plus second is not possible. Meter into second, meter divided by second, those quantities are possible. Division, multiplication, anything is possible, but during addition all the quantities must have same units or dimension. Now two quantities x and y have different dimensions, which mathematical operation given below is physically meaningful. Okay, two quantities x and y have different dimensions. Different dimension means different units. Suppose for example, suppose x is given as meter, y is given as say kilograms. Okay, which of the quantities have a physical meaning? So as I mentioned, that two different quantities, you cannot subtract or add them. This is not possible. Here also this is not possible, because it is simple straight equation where you can actually write x minus y equals to 3. Right, so this operation is not possible because they have different dimensions. So different quantities having different dimensions, you cannot add them or subtract them. That is physically not possible. So these are all not possible. So only meaningful answer is option A. Okay, so check your question. Just a second, because there is a slight delay in the poll and the question. Yes, sir, we can compare these two distance formula in equation 1. Yes, you can compare these two distance formula in equation 1. Yes, actually it is the distance formula, x equals to ut plus half at square, x naught plus ut plus half at square, which is more accurate. Actually here c is acceleration. Yes, you can compare it. Actually it is the general formula of displacement. But don't think like that. It can be any quantity. So always do not think that I have to think it in terms of I have to think only in terms of distance equation, because it can be any equation. Suppose I give you a equation, say a equals to b plus c x plus d t square. Suppose I give you some equation like this, and I say that okay, a has a dimension, a's unit is say kilograms. Suppose, okay, then what is the dimension of this quantity d? So this is kilogram, d will be kilogram per second square. It can be any equation. Okay, do not always restrict yourself into only say thinking that this is that equation or this equation. Always keep your mind open. What is the dimension of c? Dimension of c will be kilogram per meter. Okay, so it will be kilogram per meter. So all quantities can always be possible. Just think that this is all the quantities have same dimension. Cx have same dimension as kilogram, dt square have same dimension as kilogram. So dt square means d into second square. So d will be kg per second square. Okay, this is how you should always approach. Okay. Okay, now let's move on to question number 3. Our poll I think is running little late. Okay. Yes, so poll is slightly delayed, don't worry. Okay. Now next question, multiply 107.88 by 0.610 and express the result with correct number of significant figures. Now if you see the result, actually this is not about a multiplication problem. Okay, so multiplication you don't need to do it. using a calculator, because calculator is first of all not allowed, because if you see the options, all the options are almost same. That means you are going to get some value which is 65.8086, around this value. But the question is about significant figures. Okay, so when you multiply two quantities, suppose you are multiplying A and B, say a quantity P equals to A into B. Now normally when we use a calculator, we multiply, we put the value, right? But when it is when significant figures is asked, then it can be little tricky. So in that case, what you have to do, you have to find what is the significant figure of A, what is the significant figure of B. Okay, individually you have to find the significant figures. Out of these two, whoever has less number of significant figure, that many significant figure your answer should have. Okay, so whatever answer that is, suppose the significant figure of A is say 3, significant figure of B is say 2, so the significant figure of P will be 2. Between 3 and 2, who is minimum? Minimum is 2, so minimum will be 2. Now you might say, sir, what if both of them have same significant figures? Answer is simple, both of same, so no minimum value, so the answer will also have 3 significant figures. So if you see that, how many significant figures here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 significant figures here. How many significant figures here? 1, 2, 3. So remember that this 0 is significant. Any 0 after decimal, if there is a decimal number present, all zeros are significant. Okay, so there is a decimal point over here, so this 0 is significant. So 1, 2, 3 is the significant figure over here. So your answer should be 3 significant figures only. So if you see only one number with 3 significant figure, 1, 2, 3. So this will be your answer. So this question does not require you to multiply. Okay, you don't need to bring out your calculator and do the multiplication. Sir, 65.8086 I found the answer. That is wrong. This question is based on significant figure. Count the significant figure between the numbers, two numbers. Whoever has the smallest significant figure, your answer should also have the same number of significant figure, as clear as day. Okay, so let's see, we have I think we have up to the task now. Whoever has answered, how many of you answered D? 28% student have only answered option D. Okay, so most of you have answered option B. I don't know why. It is not about decimal number. Remember, this is not about decimal number. You think that, okay, this number have 3 decimal number, so our answer will be up to 3 decimal number. No, that is wrong. Okay, it is about significant figures. It is about significant figures, not about decimal number. Do not count decimal number. That is not the way significant figure based problems is solved. Okay, so here if they say the up to the decimal, then why you are going 3 decimal? 2 decimal is minimum over here, right? It is not about the decimal number, it is about the significant figure. Count the significant figure. Now between the two numbers, whoever has the smallest significant figure, that will be your answer. So 3 is the significant figure. Now significant figure, how to count? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is how you count. No decimal is there, so all zeros are significant, no worries, and it is a non-zero number. So significant figure is 3, so your answer will be 65.8. Tilak Ladgi, I think now it is clear, right? Any problem? Yes, 107.88 has 5 significant figures. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is a decimal point, so all the numbers are significant. Okay, all the numbers are significant. Here also there is a decimal number, so all decimal point here, so all digits are significant. 6, 1, 0, including this 0. Okay, this 0 is significant if there is a number, if there is a decimal number, all the zeros are significant. No matter, suppose you write it like this, all the zeros are significant if there is a decimal. Okay, in a decimal point, so does not matter if how many zeros are there. If there is a decimal point, all zeros are significant at the end. But if I write, say, without decimal number, if I write, then only this is significant. Okay, but if I put a decimal over here, then all zeros become significant, including these zeros. Okay, everything is significant. Okay, without this decimal number, only once. So this is a very important thing to understand. Okay, if there is a decimal number, then all zeros become significant. So here this 0 is significant. So I hope you understand that this one has 5 significant figure, this one has 3 significant figure. Now out of these two number, what is the smallest significant figure? The smallest significant figure is 3. 5 is smallest or 3 is smallest? 3 is smallest. So now you count the significant figure in your answer. Whoever has 3 significant figure, that will be your answer. So here 65.8 has 3 significant figures, 1, 2, 3. If you see this number, how many significant figures? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is not the answer. Between these two numbers, smallest number we have to take. That is the rule. That is the rule of multiplication in case of significant figures. Okay, I know many of you struggle over here, that's why I took some time to explain it. I hope that doubt is clear. Hello Iconic sir, after a long time, but I don't know class 11th concept. What should I do? You should start attending the classes right now. We are doing class 11 concept, so that all of your doubts, questions, and listen carefully. Do not listen casually. If you listen carefully, all of your doubts related to P1 chapters will be covered. We do not believe in teaching a lot of concepts and then on or based on all the concept only one question will come. So better practice those questions which based on which we are seeing questions. The dimensional formula for impulses. Now from this chapter, many error analysis based questions are deleted. Okay, so if you are practicing error analysis based question, do not do it. Error analysis is actually not part of the syllabus. So I was talking to our paid course students, them also I told them, do not focus on error analysis based question. What is the percentage error, what is the minimum error, what is the maximum error? Those kind of questions are not part of the syllabus anymore, so don't put your focus on them. Okay, the dimensional formula for impulse is, so what is impulse? Impulse is basically force into time. Okay, impulse is force into time. It is basically a change in momentum. Impulse is change in momentum. Okay, so what is the unit of momentum? Unit of momentum is kg meter per second. Kg meter per second. Okay, so what will be the dimension? Dimension will be m l t to the power of minus 1. Okay, it will be m l t to the power of minus 1. What is the correct option? Yes, now many of you have answered correctly. Okay, so this is actually helps me to understand where you are making mistakes. EXO is asking, sir, what is the significant figure of 0.784 and 0.045? Tell me, what do you think, EXO? Okay, you have to answer. Okay, what do you think? All the zeros are significant here, so both digits have same significant figure, that is 4. Okay, does not matter. So if you think that okay 0.02 only one significant figure, no, here we both zeros are this 0 is significant. Okay, so this 0 is significant in this number because any number after decimal is always significant. Remember that. Sir, isn't it better to do all PYQs? Opachumo is saying, sir. So basically that thing is some of the PYQs are deleted. some of the questions, if you open a PYQ book, many of the PYQ books, they have deleted questions, and maybe you get confused. So what we are doing, we are solving some PYQs which so dimensional formula based PYQs are common. Okay, so if you understand how to find the dimensions, that will help you in the long run. That's why solve it with me. Okay, we are not wasting too much of a time. During remaining time, you understand the concept, how to solve, how to approach a question, then you try to solve them on your own time. Okay, so I'm not asking you only solve these many questions. These are important questions. This is a concept build question. Once you have solved these questions, you will be able to answer more and more questions in future. Okay, the number of significant figures in the number 4.8000 and 48000.50. What is the number of significant figures in these two numbers? What is the number of significant figures in these two numbers? Okay, so lot of different answer, B, D, B, 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 B. Okay, so here how many significant figures? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In scientific notation, this is not counted for significant figures. Here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So number of significant figures 5 and 7. 5 and 7 are the significant figure. Okay. So let me see. Yes, some student answered option A. I don't know why. Why you think Imran A is correct? Why do you think Imran A is correct? Tell me, Imran. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Significant figure is 7. Why do you think significant figure is 6, not 7? Yes, Sagar, you are correct. Imran Qazi, if you are listening, tell me why do you think A is correct? You can type it. By the time we will move on to our next question. Question number 6. Okay, which of the following, this is from last year 2025 question. Which of the following expression, this question was given as a bonus, by the way, okay, because they made a very small silly mistake. Anyway, I will explain why this question was given as a bonus. Which of the following expression can be deduced or can be derived, okay, on the basis of dimensional analysis? Okay, you all have used dimensional analysis. If you forget that, suppose we are given a quantity, say quantity A depends on say mass, depends on say time, depends on say length. Okay, that depends on length. Okay, and say m to the power of A, t to the power of B, L to the power of C. Okay, then A must be, can be written as m to the power of A, L to the power of B, t to the power of, sorry, L to the power of C, t to the power of B. This is the method of. Now if you know the dimension of this quantity A, you can compare and find the formula for this quantity. Okay, if you know the dimension of A, suppose A is mass, or A is say force, so this will be ml t to the power of -2. Okay, if you know the dimension of this quantity, then based on that you can find the exact relationship. So that kind of analysis is called dimensional analysis. I made a small mistake here. It is not exactly like this. Here instead of giving the dimensions, it is given in terms of quantity. Suppose quantity suppose force, it depends on force, it depends on area, it depends on say volume. Okay, so these are the quantities on how it is dependent on B, C. Okay, now you know the dimension of force. Dimension of force is ml t to the power of -2. Okay, dimension of area, area is L square, dimension of volume, this to the power of A, this to the power of B, and volume is L cube to the power of C, and then you originally know the dimension of this quantity. Now you compare these two quantities and then you can find the value of A, B, C. Okay, so what is the answer for this question? Who answered it properly? Only very few students have answered this question correctly. The least number of students answered the correct answer, which is F is equal to 6 pi eta RV. Okay, why this is correct? Let me explain. Any quantity which involves a sine, a cos, e to the power of value, or an addition, sine, cos, tan, okay, exponential or logarithmic or addition, subtraction, these kind of quantities cannot be determined using dimensional analysis. Dimensional analysis can only determine if the quantities are multiplied or divided. Okay, so dimensional analysis can only determine quantities which are actually multiplied or divided. Okay, it can not determine any addition, any sine theta, any cos theta, any exponential. These kind of quantities cannot be determined using dimensional analysis. Okay, so remember that this method, dimensional analysis method, is not applicable. These quantities, it is not applicable. Okay, sine, cos, tan, obviously any other, you might say, sir, cosine, you have not written cosine, you have not written cot. Those are also included here. Okay, sine, cos, tan means cosine, sec and cot are included. Exponential, log, okay, and plus minus, these values are, you cannot determine them using dimensional analysis. Only multiplication and division. So from that we can see that 6 pi eta RV can be determined. Now here this question was given as a bonus. Why? Because this constant 6 pi can also not be determined using dimensional analysis. If the question was given F equals to eta RV, then yes, you can determine eta RV. This 6 pi constant cannot be determined using dimensional analysis. Okay, but yes, it can correctly predict how force is related to viscosity, radius and velocity. That can be determined. This exact constant cannot be determined. So in future, if you see a question, similar question, where there is no constant, one quantity is given without a constant and multiplication format, other quantities are given in sine omega t, then e to the power of minus lambda t, ut plus half a t square. This kind of quantities cannot be determined using dimensional analysis. Okay, yes, this is terminal, this is actually terminal velocity. This is normally velocity. For terminal velocity, when it attains terminal velocity, this you can calculate the force. Okay. Then the question of would have two answer. Why two answer, you think, Sagar? Yes, none is correct. None is correct is technically correct answer, but non-technically this is correct answer. Non-technically this is correct answer. Initially they made a mistake. They forgot to remove this 6 pi. I have not changed the question from last year. Okay, if the question is given without 6 pi, this would have been a correct answer. Only this is wrong because you cannot determine 6 pi, but you have to understand that why these are not possible. Okay, many of you have answered, I think, option A. Okay, many of you have answered option A. Many change the answer later on to C. Okay, when I checked the answer, when I answered it and checked it, many of you have answered C, only 11% of you have answered C. Later on they all change their answer to C, which is not correct, right? So you have to understand that multiplication between quantities you can determine using dimensional analysis. Any ratio based terms, so sine, cos, tan, they are actually ratio based terms. Those quantities cannot be determined using this, using dimensional analysis. Now before I continue, just wanted to remind you that our KC30 batch is going on. So if you want to register, it is still open for registration. Okay, only 2 classes have done. Today is the second day of the live doubt classes, so you will not miss a lot if you join today, but you have to join today. We had a very good session yesterday with my students. I took the first live class. So the price is 2499. If you want to register yourself, go into the chat section, go into the description section of this video and register yourself today. Already more than 500 students have registered for KC30, including KC90. The number is more than 1000. So if you still have not joined in, go and join today. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. The displacement x in meters of a particle having mass m in kilogram moving in one dimension under the action of a force is related to the time t by t equals to root x plus 3. The displacement of the particle when its velocity is 0 will be. So I'll give you few seconds to solve it. Okay, who is disturbing? If anyone disturbs, let me know, I will block him. Pratham is saying per question 2 minutes is best, please move forward. Yes, I am trying to move forward as quickly as possible. Okay, solve it, I will give you some time to solve. Okay, I can see most of you have answered this correctly, maybe because of the previous experience. Okay. So some of you may have solved this question. So let's see. Time is given as root x plus 3. Okay. So and they ask you the displacement of the particle when its velocity is 0. So you have to first step is to find displacement. Displacement is given by root x. So root x equals to t minus 3. Okay, or x equals to t minus 3 whole square, that is t square minus 6t plus 3. Okay, so this is the displacement. Now next step is to velocity is 0, so you have to calculate the velocity. How to calculate velocity? Velocity is nothing but the differentiation of this. Okay, velocity is the differentiation of this, right? Now you are okay with differentiation. When the same concept was taught to you in your P1 lecture by your teachers, you are super confused. What is differentiation? How to do it? Now you are master of it. Okay, now you think, sir, this was just a joke. Okay, when you are doing it in the first few minutes, when I was teaching in a classroom, many students are, what is this? I told them, wait, once you go to P2, everything will be like a bread and butter for all of you. So velocity will be 0. That means this is equals to 0. So from here you can calculate the time where velocity is 0. So t equals to 3 seconds. At t equals to 3 seconds, the velocity will be 0. Now at t is equal to 3 seconds, what is the value of displacement? So x will be equals to 3 minus 3 whole square, that is 0. So those who have answered D are correct. So correct answer is option D. Yes. Siddharth Naik, why you are calculating force? F is equal to dv by dt, that is a force. We are not trying to calculate force. We are only trying to calculate the position where velocity is 0, and at that point of time what will be the displacement. It is nothing to do with force. Okay. Now let's move on to the next question. A body is moving along a straight line with initial velocity v0 and acceleration a. The average velocity of the body over a given time interval is. So how to calculate average velocity? What is the formula to calculate average velocity? Formula to calculate average velocity is total displacement divided by total time. This is the only formula to calculate average velocity, no matter what type of question you see. But this is one style of question where they ask you average velocity. How to solve it? I will tell you. Just answer the poll, then I will answer the question. Let me check it first. Okay. Pole is coming, it might be slight slow, but pole will definitely come. Okay, so let's see. Again, interesting answers. There is a fight between two options. Okay. How it become -3? It does not become -3. So here if you see, t equals to root x plus 3. So root x equals to t minus 3. And then x will be t minus 3 whole square. Right? It does not become automatically. This come on this side. This is called mathematics, where a plus b when equals to 0, a equals to minus b, right? So this comes to the left hand side and becomes minus, and then we write it like this. Okay, so if you are confused, you have to write one more step: t minus 3 equals to root x, or root x equals to t minus 3, or x equals to t minus 3 whole square. Clear? Now let's move on to this question. So here this is a very simple question. One equation you need to use, that is v square equals to v naught square plus 2as. Now if you see that, moving along a straight line with initial velocity v naught and acceleration a. So this is positive value. It is not a deceleration, it's a positive value. So here we will be using plus sign, not minus sign. Okay, so what is the answer? V square minus v naught square equals to 2as, or s equals to v square minus v naught square divided by 2a. Okay, now what is the average velocity? Average velocity is simply average velocity. It is not arrow, by the way. Average velocity is s by t, which is v square minus v naught square by 2at. Okay, so correct answer is option C. And some of you have answered option A. I don't know why. Okay, A will not be answered. This is not plus, this will be minus. Okay, this will be minus once it goes to other side. So basically it's an equation of motion based question where you calculate the displacement in terms of v and a, and then you just apply the concept. Clear? Now question number 9. The displacement time graphs of two moving particles make angles of 30 degrees and 45 degrees with x-axis. The ratio of their velocity. So here we have displacement versus time graph. So in displacement versus time graph, excuse me, the velocity is given by the slope of the graph. It is given by slope of the graph. What is the slope? Slope, those who have done the mathematics, they know that slope is nothing but tan of theta. Okay, slope is given by tan of theta. Now I am not going to explain why this slope is tan theta. That is you must study in your straight line chapter in mathematics. Okay, slope is given by tan theta. Okay, so here if you see, we have two lines. First line is 30 degrees, second line is 45 degrees. Even though in the graph you might think that first line is 45, second line is 30, but read the question carefully. Very important thing to do. Okay, first line is 30, second line is 45. So what is the velocity of the first particle? Velocity of the first particle is tan 30 degrees. Okay, displacement time graph, velocity is slope, which is tan theta. That is equals to 1 upon root 3. Velocity of the particle 2 is tan of 45 degrees, that is 1. So V1 by V2 equals to 1 by root 3 by 1, that is 1 by root 3. So it will be 1 is to root 3. 1 is to root 3. Okay, yes, most of you have answered this correctly. Okay. Let me put her some on timeout. Okay, now next question. A car moves from A to B with a speed of 30 km per hour and from B to A with a speed of 20 km per hour. Okay, kmph means kilometer per hour. What is the average speed of the car? Okay, interesting question. So a object moves from A to B with a speed of 30 km per hour, and then it comes back from B to A with a speed of 20 km per hour. Okay, now you have to find the average speed. This is also a type of question, very common type of question. Suppose the distance between A and B is x kilometer. So what is average speed here? Average speed here is distance traveled here is x, coming back is another x, so total is 2x, and whatever is the total time taken during the travel, that total time. So what is the time taken from A to B, say t1, and time taken from B to A, say t2. So total time is basically t1 plus t2. Now if you can calculate t1 and t2, then you can calculate the average speed as well. So what is t1? Velocity is constant, distance is given, so t1 is actually given by distance divided by speed, right? Time is distance divided by speed. If you recall your old class 5-6 memories, if you not, then you remember that displacement for a non-accelerating object is given by velocity into time. You can remember this one that you study in your physics class, or if you remember your mathematics class, this was the case. Okay, time is x by v, right? So now you calculate the total time, x by 30 plus x by 20. LCM is 60, so it will be 2x plus 3x, so it will be 5x by 60, so it will be x by 12. Okay, so time is x by 12. Okay, now put that here. So the average velocity is given by 2x divided by x by 12. So here it will be 2x into 12 by x. So x cancels, we get 24 kilometer per hour. So correct answer is 24 kilometer per hour. Those who have answered, let's see. Now most of you have answered this wrong. Okay, hello pro hacker. Sir, can you please do the first PUC formula sheet? Vashishta Amit. Yes, we will try to do it maybe by next week. I have one old formula sheet. I am trying to update it. Okay, once it is done, I will share it. Okay. How 2x? So from Bangalore to Delhi, suppose Bangalore to Delhi, x kilometer. From Delhi back to the Bangalore, another x kilometer. So what is the total displacement? Will you only consider one way? You have to consider going and coming back. So you took 2 days to go there, 2 days to come back. So how many days? 4 days, right? It is not only 2 days. Okay, suppose you are traveling by train. Okay, you are traveling by train from Bangalore to Delhi, which is takes approximately 2 days, normal train. Okay, so 2 days from A to B, and then B to A, another 2 days. So total distance will be 4 days, right? 4 days of journey. Here x kilometer. So from A to B x kilometer, B to A another x kilometer. What is the total distance traveled? Total distance traveled is 2x. That is why it is 2x. Clear? That is why it is 2x, not x. That is why when calculating the time, we are calculating both side time, going and coming back. This is the time for going, this is the time for coming back. Now when you are adding them, make sure you add them properly. Just a second. Okay, now this is the way to solve. Now there is one more problem I will like to give you as homework. Suppose this is A, this is B. A car travels with the velocity 30 km per hour during the first half of the journey, and it travels with 20 km per hour during the second half of the journey. What is the average speed? This is a homework problem for all of you. Try to solve it and answer the question in the comment section below once the live is over. Okay, so 30 km per hour first half of the journey, 20 km per hour for the second half of the journey. He is only going in one way, not two ways. Okay, first half 30 km, second half 20 kilometers. What will be the average velocity in this case? Now next question, question number 11. A body falls freely for 10 seconds. Its average velocity during its journey. So average velocity based questions are very common in KCET. Okay, average velocity based problems are very common in KCET. Now here it is, basically you have an object, you allowed it to fall freely for 10 seconds, then what will be the average velocity during the journey? So it falls for 10 seconds, freely falling means you have taken a object, you drop it, okay, and then what will be its final what will be its average velocity, not final velocity, what will be its average velocity? Very interesting. Now when I will give you a hint, when you drop an object from a height, the acceleration which acts on this object is given by g. Acceleration acting on this object is given by g, right? So acceleration is g. So what is average velocity? Average velocity is total distance traveled by total time. This is always the formula, no matter whatever is the case. Total distance traveled divided by total time is the average velocity. Here time is given 10 seconds. Okay, you have to find the distance traveled. How to calculate the distance traveled? So freely falling object from rest, so the distance traveled is half at square. Here instead of at square we will write gt square. Okay, so gt square means half 10 into 10 square, right? Half 10 into 10 square, this is the displacement. Now put that back in this equation, you will get half 10 into 100 divided by 10. Okay, so 10 square is 100. Don't ask me why sir you have written 100 now. Okay, so it will be 50. So average velocity is 50 meter per second. Okay, so average velocity is 50 meter per second. Let's see how many of you have answered correctly. Most of you have answered, except some students have answered A. Okay, make sure it is half gt square, not gt square. Okay, so you have to simplify it and then solve it to get the correct answer. Okay. Ayan Pasha, you have to mention that in the comment section, not here. Hello Noor. Yes, option C is correct. Now next question. A particle starts from rest. Its acceleration versus time t is shown in the figure. The maximum speed of the particle will be. What will be the maximum speed of the particle? Acceleration versus time graph is given. Okay, so how to calculate the maximum speed? Answer this question. I will take small 2 minutes break. Okay, I need to fill my bottle. Okay, 2-minute break. I will be back at 5:52. Okay, just give me a let me take 5:55. Okay, I need to go to fill my bottle. C? Who answered it? Some of you are saying option B. So acceleration versus time graph. So when acceleration versus time graph is given, okay, the maximum speed will be area under the graph. The maximum speed will be the area under the graph. So maximum speed in this case will be area under the graph, which is half base into height, which will be 40 meter per second. Okay, so it will be 40 meter per second. Okay, option B is correct. Now next question, question number 13. Two stones begin to fall from the rest from the same height, with the second stone starting to fall delta t seconds after the fall of from the rest. The distance of separation between the two stones becomes h t naught seconds after the first stone starts its motion. Then t naught is equals to, let me explain this question a little bit, just give me a second. So here the question is, here we have a stone, we dropped one stone after, so this is a building. After a time delta t, you dropped a second stone. Okay, you dropped a second stone. This time is delta t. So if it was dropped at t equals to 0, this is dropped at time t equals to delta t. That means this stone is already started to fall and it's already ahead in time. Okay. Now it says that after a time t naught, okay, suppose the first stone reaches over here. This is stone number 1. Okay, and this stone number 2 is somewhere here. This is stone number 2. The distance of separation between them is given by capital H. Okay. Then what is the value of this T naught? That you have to find. Interesting problem, slightly tricky, but not very difficult to solve. Okay. So first of all, you have to solve how to start this problem. We will start this problem when time starts, that is at t equals to 0. So from t equals to 0, how long it take, how much does this stone number 1 has fallen in this time t naught? How much distance is being fallen by the stone number 1? Say this height is say h1. What is h1? Okay, always start at time t equals to 0. The height h1 is given by half g t naught square. Okay, but h1 is not given to you. Okay, remember that h1 is not given to you. You are given the difference in height. Okay, so h1 will not help you to calculate the problem completely, but h1 gives you some value. What about the stone number 2? Suppose the stone number 2, how much height it has fallen? It has fallen by say a height h2. Now what is h2? h2 is half g t naught minus delta t whole square. Okay, why this is? Because the second stone started at time t equals to delta t. So for the second stone, the time of fall is only t minus delta t. For the first stone, the time of fall is t naught. For the second stone, time of fall is t naught minus delta t. Okay, so h1 is equal to half g t naught square, h2 is equal to half g t naught minus delta t whole square. Okay, so from here you can calculate the height h. What is h? H is simply h1 minus h2. So now put the values. So half g is common, you get t naught square minus t naught minus delta t whole square. Okay, so it will be T naught minus delta T whole square. Okay, now simplify this, we get 2H by G. So we cross multiplied this. Okay, so we get T naught square minus T naught square plus 2, sorry, not plus, T naught square minus 2 T naught delta T plus delta T square. Okay, so now simplify, we get 2H by G equals to T naught square minus T naught square plus 2 T naught delta T minus delta T whole square. So this cancels, T naught square cancels. So only term with T naught is this one. So 2 T naught delta T equals to 2H by G minus delta T whole square. Now divide everything, we get T naught equals to 2H by 2 delta T G minus delta T whole square by 2 delta T. So this is slightly longer question, but yes, if you get some time you can solve it. It might take 2 minutes if you know the proper way, right? So delta T by 2. So correct answer is this one. Sorry. This will become plus. This will become plus. Why? Because it was negative. Minus delta T square, right? So once it goes to other side, it becomes plus. So correct answer will be option C, not B, but option C, right? Some of you answered B. B is not correct. It will be option C. Okay, it will be option C, because plus delta T minus delta T square, when it comes to this side it becomes plus. Okay, now next question. A stone is thrown vertically at a speed of 30 meters per second, making an angle of 45 degrees with the horizontal. What is the maximum height reached by the stone? Take G is equal to 10 meters per second square. A stone is thrown vertically at a speed of 30 meters per second, making an angle of 45 degrees. So it's a projectile based question. So here you have thrown on a stone at an angle of theta equals to 45 degrees. Okay, what is the maximum height? Reached by the stone? So maximum height reached by the stone is, remember this formula, u square sine square theta by 2g. Okay, maximum height reached by the stone is this, and range of the projectile is given by u square sine 2 theta by g. In projectile motion, these two formulas are very, very essential. Based on this, a lot of questions came. Okay, so don't ignore these two formulas. Both formulas are super duper important. Okay, so we are here, velocity is given 30 square. Okay, sine theta is given 45 degrees, so sine 45 whole square divided by 2 into 10. Okay, G is given 10. Now put the values, 30 into 30 into 1 upon root 2 into 1 upon root 2 divided by 10 into 10. Okay, sorry, not 10 into 10, 2 into 10. Okay, so 10, 1 0 cancels, we get here 15, okay, and we get 15 by 2. 1 by root 2 into 1 by root 2 is normally 1 by 2, so it will be 7.5 meters. So correct answer is, have I made a mistake? Yes, I made a mistake. 15 into 3 is there, so it will be 45. Sorry. So it will be 15 into 3, 45 by 2, which is 22.5 centimeter. Meter. 25.2 meter. So correct answer is 22.5 meter. Okay, so option D is correct. Yes, most of you answered this correctly. RCB or CSK? I better not answer. Okay. A particle is projected with the velocity v so that its horizontal range is twice the greatest height attained. Okay, the horizontal range is, so a particle is projected with a velocity v so that horizontal range is twice the greatest height attained. So horizontal range is twice the greatest height attained. So basically, what is the horizontal range? So basically they ask you what is this value r. Okay, we know that r, as I mentioned, remember these formulas by heart. Okay, there is no other way. So it is u square sine 2 theta by g, and h equals to u square sine square theta by 2g. So you have to find this value of 2 theta, because if you see the question, there is no theta involved. So basically you need to find this sine 2 theta and replace it in the equation to calculate the value, right? Now, so how to do that? First of all, obviously we are going to put the values. So u square sine 2 theta upon g equals to 2 into u square sine square theta by 2g. So 2 cancels, this g cancels, u square cancels. So we get sine 2 theta equals to sine square theta. Now what is sine 2 theta? 2 into sine theta into cos theta equals to sine square theta. So one of the sine cancels, we get sine theta over here. So we get 2 cos theta equals to sine theta, or 2 equals to sine theta by cos theta, which is equals to tan theta. So tan theta equals to 2. So now you might say, sir, we are trying to find sine 2 theta. You calculated tan theta. What to do about it? Yes, we know that sine 2 theta equals to 2 tan theta divided by 1 plus tan square theta. This is a identity in your trigonometry, right? So you just need to use that trigonometrical identity. So trigonometry is very highly used in physics as well. So it will be 2 into 2 divided by 1 plus 2 square, that is 4 by 5. So sine 2 theta we have calculated. Now go back to our original equation to calculate r. U square by g into 4 by 5. So it will be 4 u square by 5g. Now in the question, instead of u they have given v. So correct answer will be 4v square by 5g. Okay, because we take initial velocity to be u, that's why I am using u. In the question they have given v, don't worry about it, you solve it, and at the end you will realize what will be the correct answer. So option C is correct answer. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. 3 projectiles A, B and C are projected at an angle of 30 degrees, 45 degrees, 60 degrees respectively. if RA, RB and RC are ranges of A, B and C respectively, then velocity of projection is same for all cases. Then what is the correct relation? Now here I am through this question I will teach you through two different concepts. One concept is that range of a projectile is maximum. Okay, don't do RCB and or CSK in the chat. Okay, I see a lot of you are saying RCB, CSK. Don't do it. Okay, answer this question. So maximum range occurs at 45 degrees. When the angle of projection is 45 degrees, if velocity is kept constant, then you get maximum range at 45 degrees. What else? The range is same for two angles, say theta 1 and theta 2, if theta 1 plus theta 2 is equals to 90 degrees. That is, if two angles are complementary. Complementary means when you add two angles, if the result is 90 degree, this is called complementary angle. Okay, when the angles are complementary, the range remains same. Okay, so range remains same. So if they give you that two angles alpha and beta are given, alpha plus beta is equal to 90 degree, what is the range? Who is greater? R alpha will be equals to R beta. Okay, if range is same, if you add those two angles, if you get the angle to be 90 degrees, then their ranges should be same. So this is A, this is B, this is C. So RA should be equals to RC. Okay, so RA should be equals to RC. So either B is correct or D is correct. Now as I mentioned that range will be maximum for 45 degrees. That means this range is bigger than any other ranges. This range is bigger than any other ranges. That means now this sign can be confusing. Always remember, whoever is bigger, he pushes like this. So I am bigger, I will push you like this. So the angle, this corner, if the number or the digit which has this corner, that number is smaller. Whoever has this opening, he is bigger. Always remember that. So here RB is bigger than this quantity. Because many students get confused with bigger than, smaller than sign, especially in physics. It is easier in your mathematics class, but somewhat it is difficult in physics class. So remember this, whoever is pushing is bigger, whoever is getting pushed is smaller. So here RB is pushing them, so RB is bigger than these two quantities. So correct answer is option D. Okay. Yes, most of you have answered. Some of you have answered A, B and C as well, but most of you have answered option D. Okay, clear? Next question. The component of vector R along x-axis will have a maximum value if R is along positive x-axis, plus V means positive. Okay, R is along positive x-axis, R is along positive y-axis, excuse me, R is along y-axis, R makes an angle 45 degree with x-axis. The component of vector R along x-axis. So we have a vector. So this is say y, this is say x. We have a vector R. Component of this vector will be maximum in x-axis in which of the following cases? Tell me the answer. Very simple but can be foolish. What is the answer? I knew it. Many of you have answered the wrong. Okay, many of you have answered it wrong. So a vector, if you want to take the, this is not a projectile question, this is a vector question. So our 45 degree has no meaning here. A vector will have its maximum value along certain direction when the vector itself is along that direction. When the vector itself is along that direction, the value will be maximum. If the vector is perpendicular to that value, it will be minimum. Okay, so remember this. What is this? Theta. If this is r, what is x component? X component is r cos theta. Right, x component is r cos theta. This is adjacent component, this is perpendicular component. So adjacent component is cos, perpendicular component is sine. Now when this will be maximum? When this value will be maximum? This value will be maximum when cos theta is equals to 1. R is a fixed value, right? So this will be maximum when cos theta is equals to 1. Okay, those who understand mathematics, I will explain in terms of mathematics as well. So this will be maximum when cos theta is equals to 1. And when cos theta becomes 1? Cos theta becomes 1 when theta is 0 degree. 0 degree means what? 0 degree means the vector itself is along x direction. Okay, component of any vector or projection of any vector will be maximum if the vector is itself along that direction. So r is along positive x-axis, the component x component will be maximum. So option A is correct. Option A is correct. Okay, later on some of you have changed the answers. What will be the answer if it was y-axis? If the question was y-axis, then r is along y-axis. What about z-axis? Along z-axis. Okay, does not matter if any question is asked what will be the angle of at what angle it will be maximum, when angle is 0 degree. Okay, the component will be maximum if the angle is 0 degree. That is the maximum possible value. If they give you few angles, okay, suppose they have given some angles to you, then you have to calculate cos theta in each cases and you have to see whichever is maximum value, that angle will give you maximum value. But remember, smaller the angle, maximum is the value. Okay, remember that. Next question. Among the given pair of vectors, the resultant of two vectors can never be 3 units. The vectors are, among the given pair of vectors, the resultant of two vectors can never be 3 units. So we are adding two vectors, say A and B. Now when I am saying adding, adding means suppose this is A, this is B, this is also adding, this is A, this is B, this is also adding, and this is A, this is B, this is also adding. Okay, so you can add a vector multiple ways. It is not the geometrical simple algebraical addition. Vectors can be added, okay, and in vector 1 plus 1 is not always 2. Remember that in vector addition 1 plus 1 is not always 2. 1 plus 1 can be 0 as well if vectors are opposite direction. Okay, so which pair will not give you 3 units? Which pair you cannot give you 3 units? Which pair cannot give you 3 units? Now how to check that? So the maximum value a vector can addition of vector can give. Suppose the resultant of two vectors is given by r. So r a plus b. The maximum resultant is possible when both vectors are in the same direction. So the maximum value of the resultant, is simply modulus of A plus modulus of B. Okay, the maximum value of resultant. What is the minimum value of resultant? Minimum value of resultant is when the vectors are in opposite direction. When the vectors are in opposite direction, that is magnitude of A minus magnitude of B, generally bigger minus smaller, bigger minus smaller. Okay, these are the ranges. any value between these two is always possible by combining them at an angle. Suppose this value is 5, this value is 2, 3 is falling between these two, that means 3 is possible. Okay, if 3 is between these two numbers, including these two numbers, okay, then that value is possible. But if say I get a value, say 7 and say 20, 3 is beyond this reach, 3 is not falling between these two ranges, that means 3 is not possible. Here we are trying to find never be 3, that means in which of the cases 3 is possible. So let's see, 1 unit, 2 unit, if you add 1 plus 2 you get 3, 3 is possible. 3 unit, 6 unit, if you add them you get 9, if you subtract them you get 3. So again 3 is there, so 3 is possible. 2 unit, 5 unit, if you add these two numbers, okay, you get 7, and if you subtract these two numbers you get 3. So again 3 is there, so 3 is possible. Now what about these two numbers? You add these two you get 12, you subtract these two you get 4. So if you see that this number 3 is bigger, 3 is smaller than this 4. 3, the value that we are looking for is smaller than the smallest possible value. So obviously 3 is not falling between these two values, right? 4 is possible, 5 is possible, 6 is possible, 7 is possible, 8.8 is possible, 9.9 is possible, 10 is possible, 11 is possible, 12 is possible. Any values is possible actually, okay, including decimal. So any value between 4 and 12 is possible. 3 is not falling between these two numbers, so 3 is not possible for this option. So option D is correct. Okay. Most of you answered it correct. Some of you answered, I don't know why, option A. Okay, option A is not correct. A particle is in uniform circular motion. The equation of its trajectory is given by x minus 2 whole square plus y square equals to 25, where x and y are in meter. The speed of the particle is 2 meter per second when the particle attains the lowest y coordinate. The acceleration of the particle is the acceleration of the particle is. So here we have, first of all, if you identify this equation is x minus a whole square plus y minus b whole square equals to I think you write it in mathematics, you write it a square. Because I have used a, let me use r here, okay, r square. So what is this equation? This is an equation of a circle. This is a equation of a circle. Okay, so that means the particle is rotating in a circular orbit. Okay, and the origin or the center of the circle is not 0, 0. The center of the circle in this case is a comma b. Right? If this is the general equation of a circle, if you write it like this, then a comma b is your origin, not 0, 0. Okay, for 0, 0 origin it's x square plus y square, but because it is x minus something or plus something, then origin is a comma b. So here if you see that the origin of the circle is 2 comma 0, y coordinate is 0 but x coordinate is not, so it is 2 comma 0. So if you draw the graph, draw the axis, this will be y axis, this will be x axis, so it will be 2 comma 0, right? So now where will be the y coordinate be lowest? The question is particle attains the lowest y. So the lowest y is when the particle is exactly here. This is the value of lowest possible y. Okay, that is at a distance of 5 from here. Now anyway that does not have any significance. Only one significance it will have to find the direction. Okay, the question is not about circle, question is not about finding the radius of the circle or knowing where the center is located. That is all given to you to confuse you. The point of this is only to calculate that at this point what will be the direction of acceleration. So when an object is orbiting in a circular motion, there is always a centripetal acceleration acts towards the center. There is always a centripetal acceleration acts towards its center, and this centripetal acceleration is given by v square upon r. The centripetal acceleration is always given by v square upon r. Okay, and it is always towards the center. So if the particle is here, it is towards the center. If the particle is here, it is towards the center. If the particle is here, it will always be towards the center. It is not any other random direction. So basically that means when the particle is at lowest y, the direction is of the center is towards this direction, that is positive y direction. So it will be positive y direction. So direction is positive y. That is the only thing that you need to find. Okay, direction is not negative. If the particle is over here, the direction is along the negative y direction, but here the direction is along the positive y direction. So what will be the acceleration here? Velocity is given 2 meters per second, that is 2 square, and the radius, from this equation we can find the radius. Radius is square root of 25, which is equals to 5. So from here we can say it is 2 square divided by 5, that is 4 upon 5. Okay, so this is the acceleration, centripetal acceleration. So the acceleration is 0.8 and it is 0.8 j cap. 0.8 j cap. One of the option was, I think, minus. Somehow that negative sign is not there. Okay, so it will be 0.8 j cap. So this is the direction. This is the positive direction. Even though the y coordinate is negative, the direction is along the positive y direction, so it will be positive. If it is in this direction, then it is negative direction. Okay, the downward direction is negative, upward direction is always positive. Remember that. Okay, so remember that it does not depend whether the y coordinate is positive or negative. It depends only on the direction. So direction here is upward direction, which is positive y axis, so it will be plus j cap, not minus j cap. Okay, so those who have answered B or C, both I will consider. But some of you have answered A as well. I do not know why. Vidyarthi, I do not know why you have answered A. Sir, make 12th as 40 by 60 question from 12th. Muhammad Ashraf Ali, we will be doing lot more than that in our PU2 sessions. Just wait, we are starting with your PU1. Why? Because you have forgotten your PU1, and from PU1 how many questions you have to answer? 18 to 19 questions. If you consider last year's practical exam questions from PU1, total 20 questions came from PU1 syllabus. Okay, so are you going to leave those 20 questions? Obviously not, even though that is not majority, but are you going to leave those 20 questions? No, right? So you have to practice for those 20 questions as well. Now in that 20 questions you may be able to answer 15 or 16. That is fine, but at least you have to prepare to answer those 15-16 questions. And as you can see, not all the questions are super easy. Some of the questions are easy, some of the questions require some kind of calculations, right? So you have to practice. We will come back to PU2, which is more important and also we will solve entire syllabus questions as well. Don't worry about it. A person throws balls into air vertically upward in regular intervals of time of 1 second. The next ball is thrown when the velocity of the ball thrown earlier becomes 0. The height to which of the ball rise is. So basically the question tells you that you are throwing, a person is throwing a ball after an interval of 1 second. So it is basically throwing the balls like this, juggling. If you have seen the juggling done by the jokers in the circus, I don't know how many of you have seen the circus. Circus is not super common nowadays. Okay, those who may be living near villages, they may have seen it. In cities, it's very rare nowadays. I saw only once in Bangalore that there was a circus going on. Okay, so the jugglers do this kind of thing. Okay, they took balls in their both hands and they release one ball, then it goes to upper part. By the time it releases a second ball as well. Okay, so what it says that when the first ball comes to a rest, that means the ball attains the maximum height. The ball attains the maximum height, and how much time it takes? It takes only 1 second to reach that height. Okay. Now next ball is thrown when the velocity of the ball thrown earlier becomes 0, then the height to which the ball's rise is. So you have to find this height h. Okay, you are not given any velocity of the ball, only time interval is given. That means the ball takes a time to reach the maximum height is 1 second, and the maximum height is h. We are trying to find this maximum height. Okay, so first step is to calculate the initial velocity. First step is to calculate the initial velocity, say u. Initial velocity we have to calculate, and how do we do that? When you throw a ball upward, what is acting on this? A downward gravitational acceleration. When you throw something upward, only one force acting on it, that is downward gravitational acceleration. So from there we can say that final velocity is equals to initial velocity minus a into t. Okay, remember the general formula, v equals to u plus at. This is the equation of motion. Here it is object is moving upward, gravitational acceleration is downward, that's why it is a negative sign. Now final velocity is 0, u we do not know, equals to minus g, and time taken to reach the top is 1 second. So instead of t we will use 1. So u is actually equals to g, that is 10 meter per second. So initial velocity of the ball thrown by the joker is 10 meter per second. Now, now how to calculate the maximum height? At this point, the potential energy of the ball is mgh. Potential energy is mgh. At the ground, the kinetic energy of the ball is half mv square. Okay, so this kinetic energy must be converted into potential energy, right? Conservation of energy. So half mv square must be equals to mgh. So m cancels, and you get half 10 square equals to 10 into h. So 10, one of the 10 cancels, and you get h equals to 5 meter. M equals to 5, h equals to 5 meter. Okay, so correct answer is option A. Most of you have answered B. I do not know why. Do check your options. First stage is to calculate the initial velocity using equation of motion, which will give you 10 meter per second. So after doing this part, you thought correct answer will be okay, velocity is 10 meter, 1 second is time. So velocity into time should be the distance traveled. No, that is not wrong. Here you can either use equation of motion, but if you use equation of motion, you have to use one equation. You can use h is equal to ut minus half gt square. This equation either you can use, or you can use conservation of energy principle, which is half mv square is equal to mgh, and then you can calculate the height. You can use this equation also. Again you will get the same answer. Don't worry, two different methods does not give you different values. Okay, now let's move on. Explain again. Okay, what do I need to explain? So first step, you are throwing an object upward. Okay, when you are throwing an object upward, after 1 second it comes to a rest and then it falls back. Okay, that is fine. But the person is basically, this entire question tells you if you read this question, it might language is confusing, but only one information it is giving you, that the time taken by the ball to reach from the position where it is thrown till to reach the maximum height is 1 second. So that is the entire information given in this question. Nothing else is given, and the G value is 10 meter per second square. So a person is juggling with the balls, okay, and the balls are being thrown after an 1 second interval, and by the time ball reaches the maximum height. So if the same question is asked to you such a way that you throw a ball upward, the ball reaches to the maximum position in 1 second, what is the maximum height attained by the ball? Same question. Okay, just to, because the problem would have been very simpler, so just to confuse you, they have rewritten the language like this. Okay, now here how to solve it? First stage is to calculate the initial speed. How to calculate the initial speed? We know that final speed is 0, okay, and there is always a gravitational acceleration acting downward. Okay, so we will use equation of motion. Final speed is equal to initial speed into AT. Now here final speed is 0 and acceleration is downward, object is moving upward, so there is a negative sign here. Okay, and then we can calculate U into G into T. Time is given 1 second in the question, so you can calculate the initial speed. Now it is basically simply compare of kinetic energy, initial kinetic energy, final potential energy. Initial kinetic energy will be converted into potential energy at the top. So when you throw something, initially it has kinetic energy, and finally it attains a maximum height when it is entire energy is potential energy. Opposite happens when you drop something. When you drop something, initially it is completely potential energy. When it's just about to fall the ground, entire energy is kinetic energy. I hope you have done that derivation in your PU1. Okay, Ameya, I hope that's clear. A block kept on a rough surface starts sliding when the inclination of the surface is theta with respect to the horizontal. The coefficient of static friction between the block and the surface is. Okay, what is the coefficient of friction? I have 30 questions, 10 more questions to go. By 7:15 the class will be over. Another 40-45 minutes. So answer this. Answer this, just let me adjust it. Just a second. EXO, as I mentioned, by 7:15 the class should be over. Another 40 minutes maximum. Divya marks PU1 20 questions, PU2 40 questions. Five-minute break. I gave you a break. Okay, after this question I'll give you a 5-minute break. Okay, let me solve this question. Okay, after 20th question I will give you 5-minute break. A block is kept on a rough surface, starts sliding when, so this is called something called angle of repose. Okay, when a block is on the inclined plane at an angle of theta, okay, at a certain angle theta, up to a certain angle theta, the block will be at rest. What does it mean? That the frictional force acting on the block and the component of weight mg sin theta, okay, they mg sin theta will be slowly increasing as you increase the angle, and correspondingly the static friction will also increase, keeping mg sin theta in balance. But as soon as mg sin theta's value becomes more than that of frictional force, the block will start to slide. Okay, so you can calculate that and you can show that the coefficient of static friction must be equals to the value of tan theta, okay, for the block to start moving. Okay, this is the critical condition. Any angle more than this, the block will start to move. Okay, if you calculate the theta, so for example, for some angle it is the value of mu is say 0.57. Okay, that in that case theta value will be 30 degrees. Okay, so if the angle is 30 degrees, the block will start to slide. Okay, so the coefficient of the friction between the block and the surface is tan theta. This angle is called angle of repose. Okay, it is not sine, it's V, it is tan theta. It is tan theta. Okay, you can calculate that. Frictional force is mu mg cos theta. Now don't ask me how I get it. I might explain it in another question, not in this question. So the frictional force on an inclined plane, maximum frictional force, is given by mu mg cos theta, and that is equals to mg sin theta. Okay, so mg cancels, so mu becomes sin theta divided by cos theta, which is tan theta. This is the angle of repose. This angle is called angle of repose. That means any angle more than theta, the object will automatically slide. If the angle is less than this theta, object will not slide. Okay, object will remain stationary. That's how the ramp system, if you have seen the ramp system designed like that. So when the angle is more than this angle, the object will start sliding automatically. So you can adjust the height of the slide just around angle of repose, so that when the angle is slightly more, okay, the object starts to slide. If the angle is slightly less, the object does not slide. Okay, if you may have seen construction sites where the concrete is being poured, right? So now, okay, some of you are asking for a break. Let me give you a 5-minute KitKat break. Okay, be back at 6:47. Okay, remaining 10 questions we will try to solve quickly. Okay, now let's move on to the next question, question number 21. Okay. Hello Hemavati. Hello Sagar. Okay, let's start. So, an aeroplane executes a horizontal loop at a speed of 720 km per hour with its wings banked at 45 degrees. What is the radius of the loop? So, an aeroplane basically making a loop in a circular horizontal loop, okay, that means flat loop with a speed of 720 km per hour. Okay, the angle is 45 degree. Now that angle is not relevant here. Why that angle is not relevant here? This is important. Okay, radius is this, and wings banked is not important. Okay, sorry. So the weight of the aeroplane is for mg, and a component of that mg is actually providing the required centripetal force, which is wing bank 45 degree, means it will be mg cos 45 degrees. Okay, that is the major thing. So when the aeroplane is banking, what happens is that a part of its weight actually providing the required centripetal force to make it a circular turn. Okay, if you ever visit a air show, you may have seen that aeroplanes are moving at some angle. Okay, and they, while doing that, they bend the aeroplane so that the part of their weight actually goes towards the required centripetal force. First stage is to calculate this 720 km per hour into meter per second. First stage, 720 km per hour, that is 720 into 1000 divided by 3600. Those who don't know, there is a shortcut way to do it as well, which is 5 by 18. So kilometer per hour to meter per second, you need to multiply 5 by 18. Okay, so it will be 9 2s are 18 and 8 9s are 72, and then it will be 40. So 4 into 5 is 200 meter per second. So kilometer per hour to meter per second, you just need to multiply by a factor of 5 by 18. Those who don't know, 1000 by 3600. 1000 is kilometer to meter, 3600 hour to second. Okay, so this is the speed of the aeroplane. Now, to complete a circular motion, it needs a centripetal force. How much centripetal force? mv square upon r. Okay, the centripetal force required here is mv square divided by r. Now centripetal force is something which has to be provided by some external force. Here the part of the weight of the plane, which is basically gravitational force, that provides the required centripetal force, and because the plane banked at an angle 45 degree, it will be mg cos 45 degree. Okay, part of the aeroplane's weight is providing the required centripetal force. Now m will cancel, so radius r is actually v square by g cos 45 degrees. Okay, v square, v is 200, so 200 into 200 divided by g is 10, and cos 45 is root 2, 1 by root 2. So 0 gets cancelled and you get 4000 root 2 meter. Okay, 4000 root 2 meter, or it will be 4 root 2 kilometer. 4 root 2 kilometer. 4 root 2 means 4 into 1.4, so it will be 16, so it will be 5.6 kilometer. Yes, 5.6 kilometer, but here none of the answers given is correct. So correct answer will be closest to this value, which is equals to D. Okay, closest answer will be option D. We need shortcut itself. Now not all problems have shortcut. For example, the problem for radius is given by v square upon g. Okay, this is a shortcut formula. Shortcut is nothing. Shortcut is just remembering few formulas. Now this formula may come once in 4-5 years, but if you understand this concept, if similar concept coming in your exam, centripetal force, that is mv square by r, you can solve that question maybe. But if you remember this shortcut formula, some cases there is a shortcut. Obviously I try to include that in my lecture. Okay, but here there is no shortcut. I have used one shortcut in the past as well. So if you want shortcut, some questions only shortcut means remembering formulas. Some questions shortcut do have some physical meaning. For example, this question I will solve it using shortcut method. So if you are looking for shortcut method, definitely this problem is one of them. So two masses 5 kg and 3 kg are suspended with the help of massless inextensible strings as shown in the figure. When the whole system is going upwards with the acceleration of 2 meter per second square, the value of tension T1 is. So here we have 5 kilogram, 3 kilogram, tension T1, tension T2. So this is the tension of your PU exam. This is the tension of your KCET exam. Those who are giving Comet K, they might have one more tension attached to them. Okay, so all of you have different tensions. Now PU1 is over, so they ask you what is the tension of your KCET exam. So sir, this is a very big problem. Actually it is a very simple problem if you know how to use the shortcut method. Okay, so here when 2 object problem, 3 object problem, 5 object problem, okay, as long as the method I am teaching you will be applicable for the topmost mass and the bottommost mass. In between, if there are any masses, then that method will be different. Okay, and the 3 object problem, 4 object problem did not came any time in KCET, but 2 object problems are very common. So the method I am going to teach you will be applicable for topmost mass, bottommost mass. Calculate tension, calculate acceleration in some cases. Okay, so here first of all, and not only that, I will explain you how to solve questions when the system of object is accelerating. So here this system of object is accelerating upward with acceleration A. The system is accelerating upward with acceleration a, right? Now, instead of considering two different masses, when you are considering the topmost object, you add all the mass which is below it. You add all the masses which are below the object. So the total mass here will be simply the 5 kg mass over here, and below is 3 kg. So 5 plus 3, that is 8 kg. So you need to consider this 8 kg mass only. You do not need to consider any two masses. You only consider one object of mass m. The tension will still remain same. The acceleration will still remain same. When you are considering the bottommost object, you consider only its mass. If it is bottommost object, you consider only its mass alone, nothing above you need to consider. Okay, and again the acceleration tension should remain same. For bottommost object only that mass, for topmost mass object everything below you just need to add them. Clear? Now, so total mass of the object is 8 kilograms. Now again I am going to teach you one more thing. So what are all the forces here? So tension is upward, the weight of the mass is downward. Okay, so there are two forces acting on this mass. Okay, now many students get confused, sir, how to solve problems where the object is accelerating and free body diagram based questions especially. So the object is accelerating upward. Now remember that whoever has the direction of acceleration, there will be mostly there will be two forces, one force in this direction, one force in this direction, and one will be direction of acceleration. In many cases, lift motion, this case, object on a train, no matter whatever is the case, one side will have the acceleration, other side will not have the acceleration. Okay, now remember whoever has the direction of acceleration, that side is Amir. Okay, that side is rich person. Okay, this side is rich. And whoever does not have the support of acceleration, he is poor, garib. Okay, so whoever has the direction of acceleration is rich person. Whoever does not have the support of the acceleration is a poor person. Okay, so rich means he has lot of money, poor means he has a very less money. So what we will be doing? We will be doing rich minus poor. Okay, rich minus poor equals to mother, not mother, ma. Okay, so rich minus poor equals to ma, ma. Okay, so remember this. So in this particular case the object is accelerating upward. So who is rich, who is garib? So the tension T1 is Amir and the weight mg is garib. Okay, so T1 minus mg, okay, that is equals to ma. Okay, so those who don't understand this Amir garib funda, okay, you just remember that direction of acceleration gives the larger force, direction opposite to the acceleration gives smaller force. Okay, larger force minus smaller force equals to ma, Newton's law. Those who don't want to go into the understanding of, sir, what is Amir, what is garib, I don't understand that. So the direction of acceleration gives larger force, direction opposite to the acceleration gives smaller force. Larger force minus smaller force equals to ma. That is also a way to remember. But if you add a story to it, that becomes more interesting. That is helpful for you to remember. That's why this is a story. Okay, so you can calculate tension T1, which is ma plus mg, that is m is common, a plus g, that is 8 into a is 2 meter per second. Let me assume the gravitational acceleration is 10, even though 9.8 is given in the question. Don't worry about it. You just apply 10, so you get 8 into 12. which is equals to 96. Okay, so the tension is 96 Newton, but if you see in the option, 96 Newton is not given. Why not given? Because we have used 10 meter per second square instead of 9.8. That means our answer will be slightly less than 96. So correct answer is 94.4. Okay, clear? Yes, most of you have answered this correctly. Madhavi, fast is the job of Saturn. Okay, you know what I am trying to mean. So I will try to explain it so that it remains with you. If you forget everything, whatever you are doing right now, then it will not helpful, right? A wooden block of mass capital M lies on a rough floor. Another wooden block of the same mass is hanging from the point O through strings as shown in the figure. To achieve equilibrium, the coefficient of static friction between the block on the floor with the floor itself is. So here we have two blocks, both of mass M. It is tied with the string like this, and it says that what will be the coefficient of friction. What will be the coefficient of friction between this block and this block? So suppose the force of friction is small f. Force of friction is small f. Okay, now here there is a string. There is a string means wherever there is a string, there is a tension. Okay, so there is a tension here. Now this tension can be divided into two components. One component is along this, which is, suppose this angle is theta, so this will be T sine theta. This is adjacent component, so this will be T cos theta. Okay, now what are all the forces acting on here? So this, there is a force of friction in this direction, there is a mg in this direction, which is actually, if you draw everything from this point, free body diagram, okay, these are all the forces acting on this. This is the vertical forces, this is the horizontal forces. So that means to keep the body in equilibrium, what we must have is this force must be equals to this force must be equals to the downward force, right? So T cos theta must be equals to the force of friction, and T sin theta must be equals to the weight of the object, that is mg. Now force of friction is given by coefficient of friction into mass into g. Okay, the force of friction is given by mu mg. Okay, how it is coming? So those who have forgotten, mg is acting downward. The normal reaction force is exactly equals to that of the weight, and force of friction is mu into normal reaction force. So now normal reaction force and weight is same from Newton's third law of motion. So you can calculate the force of friction is always mu mg for a horizontally placed object, right? So you can put that here, mu mg. Now divide equation number 1 by equation number 2. You get mu mg by mg equals to T cos theta by T sin theta, that is cot theta. Okay, mg cancel, so mu equals to cot theta. Mu equals to cot theta. So option A is correct, right? Again, some students have answered option C. What is option C? Tan theta. Oh, wow. Think twice before answering. 23, can you repeat? So first of all, understand this figure. So there are two masses kept like this. There is a string like this. This string is doing a very important job keeping these objects in balance. So if you take the tension of this string, okay, if you take the tension of the string is basically divided into two components. One component in this direction, one component in this direction. Now basically this component is actually transferred to this mass. I have not drawn that, okay, I have not drawn that component transfer, but anyway, we will consider the equilibrium of this point. Okay, we will consider the equilibrium of this point. So what is happening is that, so this tension can be divided into two components. One is tension along upward, one is a component along right side. Now this component is balancing the frictional force, this component is balancing the weight, which is downward. Force of friction is given by mu mg. If you've forgotten, I am here to remind you, force of friction of an object placed on a horizontal plane, force of on an object in a horizontal plane is given by, when the weight is mg, force of friction is given by mu mg. This is the maximum frictional force. This is the maximum frictional force, always. If it is in an incline, you have to take the normal component, then you can calculate it. Okay, for a normal kept on a horizontal surface, it will be mu mg. So this is the frictional force, this is the weight. Compare these two values, simplify, divide them. Okay, mg cancels, mu equals to cot theta. A block of certain mass is placed on a rough floor. The coefficients of static and kinetic friction between the block and the floor are 0.4 and 0.25 respectively. So this is the static friction, this is the kinetic friction. A constant horizontal force F equals to 20 Newton acts on it so that the velocity of the block varies with the time with the following graph. The mass of the block is nearly. So this is a completely out of the world question. Okay, force is given, friction is given, and suddenly they are asking what is mass. Velocity time graph is given. Okay, so don't worry. So here, first of all, what is static friction, what is kinetic friction? If the object is at rest, the friction is static. If the object is moving, then it is kinetic. Okay, so when the object is moving, it is kinetic. Object is at rest, it is static. Okay, so here this is the velocity time graph. If you see it, this is the velocity time graph. Right, now here the velocity time graph is not a flat line. That means the object is moving and object is accelerating. Here object is not only moving, it is accelerating. So that means when the object in motion, when motion is there, okay, we will consider the kinetic friction only. Static friction is only when the object is at rest. Here object is not only moving, it is accelerating. So our first task is to calculate the force of friction on the object. Okay, horizontal object, object kept on a horizontal plane. Okay, so object kept on a horizontal plane, so weight is mg. So force of friction acting on the object will be mu k mg. Okay, static friction is only given here for show. Static friction has no role to play for this particular question. Okay, if the object was at rest, then static friction may have come into picture, but because the object is moving, static friction you can simply ignore. The force of friction acting on the object will be 0.25 into mass into gravitational acceleration, which is 10. So it will be 2.5 m. This is the force of friction. Okay, now the force that you have applied on the object, that external force that you have applied, is given here as 20 Newton. So force external is given by 20 Newton. So what is the net force acting on the object? Net force acting on the object is force external minus the force of friction, and that should be equals to ma. From Newton's law of motion, net force must be equals to ma. Now if we can somehow calculate the acceleration, we will be able to solve this question. So how to calculate the acceleration? Here velocity time graph is given, velocity time graph is given, that means the slope of this graph will give you the acceleration. Now how to calculate the slope? Sir, you told me that if you know the angle we can calculate, but here angle is not given. Here the angle is not given. Sir, then how can we calculate the slope? Don't worry. If angle is given, very good. If the angle is not given, you should remember that the slope is delta y by delta x. Slope is delta y by delta x. Okay, the old formula. So what is delta y here? Delta y is from 0 to 20. So delta y is 20. And what is delta x? Delta x is 0 to 3. Okay, so this is 0 to 3. So 20 by 3. 20 by 3 is the slope of this graph. So this slope is nothing but acceleration of the particle. So now we are going back to our equation. F external is 20 Newton. Force of friction is 2.5 m, and that is equals to 20 by 3 into m, right? Force equals to ma, acceleration we have calculated. Now we just need to simplify it. Multiply with 3, you get 60 minus 7.5 m equals to 20 m, or 60 equals to 20 plus 7.5 m, or m equals to 60 divided by 27.5. Okay. Now you might be thinking, sir, again we need a calculator to solve. So this is where I am here to help you. 60, consider this number very close to 30. Okay, this number is very close to 30, so that means if we cancel we get 2. So our answer will be slightly more than 2, because in the number which was in the division we increased it slightly, so our answer will be slightly more than 2. Now if you see all the options, only one of them which is slightly more than 2, that will be 2.2. okay. Yes, Kavita, what is your doubt? Sir, 2.5 becomes 7.5. Yes. So here there was a 3 here. So what we have done, we have multiplied every term with 3. So all the terms we have multiplied with 3, so that this 3 becomes 20 by 3 becomes 20. Okay, so 3 into 20 is 60, 3 into 2.5 is 7.5, 3 into 20 by 3 is 20. Okay, so we have simplified. This is a way of simplification. You can simplify it any other way as well, but I feel this is a way of faster simplification, and I don't try to solve problems based on fractions, because obviously you are not allowed to use calculators in the exam. Okay, clear? You want to repeat me the entire solution? So first is, in this question, object is applied a force and it starts to move. Well, how do we know the object is moving? Because in the velocity time graph, this is a straight line. That means object is moving. So object is moving means static friction does not play any role. Static friction means object is at rest. Object is moving, no friction other than kinetic friction. So that means only 0.25 is the force here. Okay. Next, a constant horizontal force of 20 Newton, which is the external force that you have applied, acts on it so that the velocity of the block varies with the time according to the following graph. The mass of the block is nearly. So what is the mass of the block? Mass of the block, how to calculate? First of all, you have to understand that what are all the forces acting on this object. The force externally that you have applied, and the frictional force which is fixed. Frictional force is mu mg. Frictional force always mu mg. For external force is given 20. So force, net force, what is the net force? Net force is external force minus force of friction, and because that is not zero, the object will accelerate And from Newton's second law of motion, the net force is always m into a. Okay, so now how to calculate this acceleration? Velocity time graph is given. The slope of a velocity time graph gives you the acceleration. How to calculate slope? There are two ways to calculate slope. Main thing is either they are giving you the angle theta. If angle theta is not given, then what? Then you have to go back to the original formula, that is slope is equals to delta y by delta x. Now how do I calculate delta y? This point y is equals to 0, this point y is equals to 20, okay, and this point x is equals to 0 and this point x is equals to 3, okay, from the graph, okay. So delta y by delta x, that is 20 by 3. 20 by 3 is the slope. So we calculated the slope. Slope is actually the acceleration. Now we use this acceleration back into this, then simply simplification, mathematical simplification. Okay, let's move on to the next question. A smooth chain of length 2 meters is kept on a table such that its length of 60 centimeter hangs freely from the edge of the table. The total mass of the chain is 4 kilograms. The work done in pulling the entire chain on the table is. So here we have a table where a chain is kept. Okay, so some chain is kept. Now the entire length of the chain is 2 meters. Okay, so entire length of the chain is 2 meters and the mass of the chain is 4 kg, right? Mass of the chain is 4 kg. Now only 60 centimeter is hanging. Only 60 centimeter is hanging. So what is the mass of this hanging mass? We are only interested in the mass of the hanging chain. So mass of the hanging chain is very simple. Total mass divided by length into the length which is hanging. Okay, now here this 60 centimeter we will convert it into meters. That will be beneficial for us to solve this. So mass is 4 kg and this is 2 and 0.6. So it will be 2 into 0.6, that is 1.2 kg. Okay, I hope all the up to this point everything is clear, right? No, I don't remember the answer for this question. Anyway, so the mass of this string which is hanging is 1.2 kilograms. Now if you want to pull that mass up, okay, how much work you have to do? What is the work? How much potential energy is stored in this string, that much work you have to do. So what is the potential energy stored in the string? Potential energy stored is mgh. Okay, mgh is the potential energy stored in the string. But what will be the h over here? Because the mass at this point is entire height, mass at this point is nothing. So what will be the center of mass of this string? Center of mass will be basically the midpoint of the string, which is 0.3 meter from the top. Okay, so that is very important to understand. Because it's a uniform mass, the center of mass must be at the center of the ring. Okay, so we are basically pulling the entire chain up by 0.3 meter. Okay, so that is equivalent. Okay, only 1 point mass of 1.2 kg was there, and at a distance 0.3 meter, if you pull it up, the same amount of work you are doing. Okay, so now you have to calculate the work done is actually mgh. What is mass? Mass is not 4 kg but 1.2 kg. Why? Because that is the mass of the string which is hanging. What is gravitational acceleration? Given in the question 10. What is h? H is half of this distance, which is 0.3. Okay, so it will be 12 into 0.3, that is 3.6 joules. That is correct answer is option A. Sir, if we study this, is it enough? Can we in subject Mahantesh, no, this is not enough. This is just a beginning. This is just to give you an idea how to approach, how to think, how to calculate. Okay, this is not enough. This is just to give you an idea how to approach a problem. If you think that problem is difficult, how to solve, how to approach, how to think to solve a problem. Okay, that's what I can do. I will also teach you tricks. I will also give you tips. So if you want to enhance your knowledge, this is here. Okay, we will not saying you that I will make you a topper in 30 days. That is not possible. Okay, but this is a way to start. If you are stuck somewhere, you should start from somewhere. A ball of mass 0.2 kilogram is thrown vertically down from, and along with this, if you practice on your own, definitely you will get a very good rank. Okay, the students which are attending today, now the number slightly reduced, but many students were there in the beginning and they are answering, they are responding brilliantly. Okay, I guess, and if you have any doubts, ask me. I am always there. Many students are asking, sir, please explain, please explain. I explained it, right? Amya is asking me explain again. So first of all, this is a very common problem. Okay, a chain problem. So how to approach this kind of problem? First stage number 1, calculate the mass which is hanging. Calculate the mass of the chain which is hanging. The chain is very long, 2 meter long, but only 60 centimeter is hanging. So first step is to calculate the mass of the hanging chain. How to calculate the mass of the hanging chain? First step is to calculate the mass per unit length. Total mass divided by total length is the mass per unit length. Okay, next step is to find what is the length of the hanging portion. Length of the hanging portion is 0.6 meters. So always convert it into same unit as the length. Okay, that helps. So if this is given in meters, you convert this also in meters. If this is in centimeter, you keep this in centimeter. Remember that. That is a helpful tip. Length is given in meter. So first step is to convert this length into meter. So 0.6 meter. Now total mass is 4 kg. Okay, the length is 2 meters, so 4 divided by 2 into 0.6, so 1.2 kg is the mass of the hanging string. This is the mass of the hanging string. Okay, so mass of the hanging string is calculated. Next step is what? Now you have to calculate the work done. What is the work done? So work done to lift something up is mgh. Similarly, here you are lifting something from the bottom. The work done will be mgh. Okay, because this is the gravitational potential. Gravitational potential, the same energy, if you want to lift something, then you have to work against this gravity, so that is the work done, mgh. Now important part is, what is the value of h? Is it 0.6 meter or not? It is not, because 0.6 meter, even though the length of the string is 0.6 meter, mass is not entire mass is not here. Mass is uniformly distributed. So when the mass is uniformly distributed, then you have to take the center of mass. Center of mass of any uniform object, is located exactly at the midpoint. Okay, it may be a rod, maybe a chain. So here the center of mass of this chain is located exactly at the midpoint. Okay, so center of mass is exactly located at the midpoint, and because it is located at the midpoint, the work done to lift the chain is basically mg into 0.3. 0.3 is the center of mass from the top. Okay, from the top, the distance of the center of mass is 0.3, so you need to take that 0.3. Okay, and then simple calculation. Now next question, a ball of mass 0.2 kg is thrown vertically down from a height of 10 meter. It collides with the floor and loses 50% of its energy and then rises back to the same height. The value of its initial velocity. Again another tricky question. Another tricky question. Let's see who can answer. Okay, some of you have answered. Let's see. Most of you have answered 0. I don't know why. So let us understand the question. See, here we have a floor, we have a ball which we are throwing. We are not dropping it, we are throwing it downward. Okay, so when you throw it downward, it has an initial velocity. Okay, so what is the total energy of this ball? Total energy of this ball, initial total energy is obviously the kinetic energy plus the potential energy. Okay, kinetic energy is given by half mv square and potential energy is given by mgh. Now don't ask me why, sir, why? Because potential energy is given by mgh, kinetic energy is given by formula half mv square. Okay, these are the formulas. And total energy is sum of kinetic plus potential. I will not explain this problem once, so please listen carefully. Okay, so that when we drop this, when we throw this object downwards, the total energy is kinetic plus potential. Okay, and when the ball reaches just about to touch the ground, what do you think the total energy of the ball is? So during this entire journey, before it touches the ground, the total energy is conserved because conservation of energy. Because of conservation of energy, the total energy remains constant. But immediately after the ball touches the ground and bounces back, 50% of the energy is gone. So you are trying too hard to reach JEE, but as soon as you sit for the energy first exam, JEE exam 1, 50% of your energy is gone. Okay, JEE is maybe not for me, or maybe you are thinking JEE is too hard. So 50% energy is gone as soon as the ball touches the ground. So that means at this point, now what is the energy? 50% of whatever initial energy it has. So final total energy is 50% of the initial total energy after it touches. 50% means, remember this thing, 50% means 0.5, 10% means 0.1, 20% means 0.2, 90% means 0.9. Okay, so you have to convert percentage into decimals by dividing by 100. Okay, so 50% means 0.5. So only 0.5 of the total energy, initial energy, is left with the ball. And with this total energy, now again this energy will be constant because again it is not colliding with anything. With this total energy, the ball rises exactly from where it came. With this total energy, the ball rises to the height from where the ball came. So this is the total final energy. Now the ball rises to the height where it came from. That means at this point, what is its total energy? At this point, entire energy is now converted into potential energy. At this point, the entire energy is converted into potential energy because the ball is, this is the maximum height. They no longer velocity is 0. So at this maximum point, the entire energy is potential energy, and from conservation of energy, we can say that this total energy also should be equals to the potential energy. Okay, at this point total energy is conserved throughout, okay, except when the ball is colliding with the ground, total energy is conserved. So at this point TF equals to U. So TF equals to U. So U is equals to 0.5 of the initial total energy. Initial total energy is K plus U. So that will be 0.5 into K plus U. Now simplify this. You will get U minus 0.5 U equals to, this is just mathematics. Don't worry if you are not able to understand, sir, how you are doing it. This is just mathematics. Do it yourself. You will realize this is not a rocket science. Okay, so U equals to K. Okay, only thing that we have done is that total energy initially is K plus U. Total energy at the end is equals to U, but it is given in the question 50% energy is lost. So this final energy must be equals to 50% of the initial energy, and from there we calculated the potential energy equals to kinetic energy. And this is the shortcut way. If you want to solve it in any other way, the method is much longer and much difficult. Okay, this is the shortcut way to solve this question. Now you might think the shortcut way is longer. Yes, shortcut way is longer because other method is much more longer than this. Okay, now what? Now potential energy is mgh and kinetic energy is half mv square. So v square equals to 2gh, or v equals to square root of 2gh. Okay, so height is 10 meter, g is 10 meter, so it will be 2 into 10 into 10, that is 10 root 2. These two will come out once, so it will be 14 meter per second. How, sir, 14? Just think, root 2 is 1.4 approximately, 10 is 10, so 10 into 1.4 is 14. So I am saving some space, I am saving some time to in the calculation. Okay, I have enrolled in KCET 30 course, so I got login details. I have logged in also, but I am not able to see videos. Video orientation video is not opening. You should mail Ali on Explorer. You should mail to our support, which is askEduTube@diksha.learning.com. They will take care of it. They will contact you, they will call you, and they will try to understand what the problem you are facing, and based on that they will solve your problem. You can, by the meantime, what you can do, try, if you are not able to use a mobile phone, try it in the web browser. If you are not able to do it in web browser, try using our Diksha Vedantu app. Okay, that the thing you can do. Also, if you have received the login for your WhatsApp channel, join the WhatsApp channel. You will be notified whenever the live classes are happening. Every day 5 PM we are having live classes for KCET 30 batch as well. I hope that helps. Otherwise, you just send a mail to our support team. They will take care of it as soon as possible. Okay, our support team is working during the daytime. So if you mail it today, don't expect that you will get the response today. It will take at least by tomorrow you will get the support. Okay, now next, a particle of mass 500 grams is at rest. It is free to move along a straight line. The power delivered to the particle varies with the time according to the following graph. So here power delivered is given, okay, and they ask you the momentum of the particle. Oh my God, how to solve, sir? In this problem they are giving me power, time, asking momentum. Where is the relationship? So don't worry, that's why I am here. So first of all, in a power versus time graph, okay, the area under the graph represents work done. The area under the graph represents work done. Now don't ask me how, it is an integration method. If you try to calculate work done, it will be integration P into dt. Now P into dt is basically the area under the graph. Okay, so for that you need to study a little bit of theory, but anyway you don't need to go into that theory part. You just need to understand that area under the power time graph, area under the force displacement graph, all of them gives work. Okay, so here if you calculate the area under the graph, you will get work. Not only work, you will also get the kinetic energy. Why? Because work energy principle. Work energy principle states that work is equals to kinetic energy. Change in kinetic energy. Here initially at rest, so initial kinetic energy is 0. So final kinetic energy. Okay, so work done equals to kinetic energy. Right? Remember this. Not always this is true, but 99.99% cases in KCET this is correct. Work done equals to kinetic energy. Now how to calculate area? So here this is called a trapezium. What is this shape is called? This shape is called a trapezium, where two sides are parallel, one angle is 90, two angles are 90 degrees. This shape is called a trapezium. Now trapezium is a very specific shape. If you know this side is A, this side is B, the distance, this is the distance between the parallel sides. These sides are parallel, right? This is the distance between the parallel sides, say D. Then the area of our trapezoid is given by half A plus B into D. This formula was taught to you in a lower classes. Most of you have ignored. Now it's time for us to reopen that memory and use it. Okay. So how to calculate the area of this trapezoid? Area of the trapezoid is given by half into what is this length? This length is 2. What is this length? Check in the graph. This length is 2. Okay, this length is 2. What is this length? This length is 8. Everything is there in the graph. So 2 plus 8. Sum of the parallel sides. Sum of the parallel sides into the distance between them. Into the distance between them, which is 5. Okay, so it will be half into 10 into 5. Okay, so it will be 5. So it will be 25. Okay, so the work done is 25. Right, 25 joules. And as I mentioned, this is same as kinetic energy. Now sir, in the question they have asked us to find the momentum. You only calculated kinetic energy. What to do, sir? Don't worry. So now we will use one more formula to relationship between kinetic energy and potential. Okay, relationship between kinetic energy and potential. Remember this. Kinetic energy is given by P square by 2m. This is must remember formula. This one and this one. Derivation is simple. This derivation is simple, but if you memorize these two formulas, based on these two formulas, there are repeatedly question came in KCET from work energy principle chapter, from momentum chapter, from dual nature of radiation and motion chapter as well. So this mainly this formula is important in momentum and dual nature of radiation and matter, but this formula is also important for work energy power chapter. Okay, so both are same formulas obviously. As you can see, if you cross multiply and take a square root, you will get momentum. Okay, so this formula is very, very important. One of the most important formulas which students ignore. Okay, so this is one of the most important formulas that you must have to remember. So now we can calculate the momentum. 2 into the mass is 500 grams. 500 gram means 0.5 kilograms, and the work done we have calculated from calculating the area. So I hope you still understand how to solve it. Calculate the area under the graph, that is kinetic energy, and then put it back into this formula. So this is just a formula based question. Okay, 1 into 25, 2 into 0.5 is 1. So 1 into 25, that will be square root of 25, that is equals to 5 meter kg meter per second. Is kg meter per second or Newton meter. Okay, Newton second, sorry. So correct answer is 5 Newton second. Kg meter per second or Newton second, both are same unit. So correct answer is option C. Let's see, most of you have answered option A. I don't know why. Okay, I don't know why you have answered. Sir, this lecture is also helpful for Comet K. Yes, of course, this lecture is very, very helpful for Comet K. Okay, especially PU1 chapters, except 1 or 2 chapters, most of the concepts in so for example, rotational motion chapter is slightly tricky in Comet K, but work energy, the chapters that we are discussing today, all the concepts are super important in Comet K. Similar questions came in Comet K as well. A body of mass 0.25 kilograms travels along a straight line from x equals to 0 to x equals to 2 with the speed of v equals to x to the power of 3 by 2, where k is 2 units. The work done by the net force during this time. How to solve it? This is also complicated if you think, but this will be easier if you try to apply your mind. Now, some of you might be thinking, sir, I know the formula, work done is given by F into V into dV. Some might say, sir, I do not know the formula, please do the derivation. Okay, this is actually dW, small work done. So we know that if you apply a force on an object, if the force is variable or force depends on the distance, okay, then you cannot apply the conventional formula of work done, that is force into displacement. Now for those this is a new formula, completely new, never seen. For them I just ask you, go and go and check your NCERT textbook. Okay, I am not here to explain why this formula. Okay, just check your old notes. Okay, or you can check, we have done last year, we have done a P1 lecture. We will be bringing you theory lecture as well, but as of now it is not there. So those who are willing to watch, you can go check last year's master stroke video. There we have explained this formula. Okay, so this is the formula for work done. This is the formula for work done. Now if the force is variable means force is not constant. If force is not constant, then you cannot apply this formula. So in that case you have to use this formula, dW equals to force into dx. Okay, now what is force? Force is from Newton was our father and force is mother. Okay, force equals to ma, and it is m into acceleration is dv by dt. This is a neat trick. Those who don't know, you should remember, I made a mistake here. It is not f, it is m. Anyway, so it will be m into dv into dx by dt. So what we have done, we have exchanged this. Now if you don't understand this right now, you can watch it later on. Okay, because this is just mathematics. This is just mathematics. This is nothing to be afraid of. Simply we have written the formula for small displacement dx, what is the work done. Then we have broken the force into ma and a into the differential formula for a. Okay, now we have just rearranged it and we got this formula. This is the force, this is the work done due to a variable force. This is the work done due to a variable force. Now if you see in this, here velocity is given. Velocity is given. So the small work done will be m into k x to the power of 3 by 2 into dv. So the variable is x, but our differential is v. So we have to change it because we are substituting it. So v equals to k x to the power of 3 by 2. That means dv, we always do it in integration, differential, right? Substituting. When we substitute, we also find the differential. So that will be 3 by 2 k x to the power of half. Okay, so this is our into dx. So we have changed the differential dv to dx. So again, this is mathematics, nothing physics here. Okay, physics is over when you wrote down this formula. So dv is equals to 3 by 2 k into x to the power of half, okay, into dx. Now again we have to simplify, so it will be 3 by 2 into m into k square, okay, into x to the power of 3 by 2 plus half into dx. Okay, I have to do this step because now you will ask, sir, why you have written here x square, because this is how you add two quantities. X square into x to the power of half, power gets added. 3 by 2 plus half is 4 by 2, that is 2. Okay, into dx. Now this is the expression for work done. This is not done yet. Okay, you have to find the net work done. So net work done means obviously you have to integrate this quantity. Now when you are integrating this, you can see that 3 by 2 mass into k square, these are all constants. Only integration will happen of this x square dx. Now start putting those values. So 3 by 2, mass is 0.25, k is 2, so k square will be 4, okay, into integration of x square dx, and it will be 0 to 2 because x is 0 to 2. Now if you multiply 2.5 into 4, that will give you 1. So we get 3 by 2 into x cube by 3 into from 0 to 2. Okay, so integration of x square, I hope I don't have to explain it to you, right? Now let's simplify. You get work done equals to 3 by 2 into 2 cube by 3. Okay, 2 cube by 3 minus 0 cube by 3, lower limit is 0, 0 cube by 3 is 0. I am saving some time of mine as well as yours. So answer is 4 joules. So the work done is 4 joules. 2 more questions to go. Let me solve it quickly. During an elastic collision between two bodies, which of the following statements are correct? The initial kinetic energy is equal to the final kinetic energy of the system. The linear momentum is conserved. The kinetic energy during delta t of the collision is not conserved. This is a question from 2025. Okay, who can answer this question? Mahesh is saying, can we score 30? So you have to follow the entire series. You have to follow the entire series. If you are following the entire series, definitely you can score well, right? Okay, this is an easy question. Don't answer it. I think the question number is changed. This will be 29. Okay, this will be 29th question. During an elastic collision between two bodies, which of the following statements are correct? So initial kinetic energy is equals to, this is an elastic collision. This is an elastic collision. In elastic collision, initial kinetic energy is equals to final kinetic energy. Linear momentum is conserved. Yes, linear momentum is conserved for elastic collision as well as in inelastic collision. Okay, I answered you, Shubhanshu. Yes, all the lectures are helpful for Comet K. Okay, wait, Amya, Salpa wait Madi. Question part 3, kinetic energy during delta t, the collision time, is not conserved. So what happens? One object is moving towards another, they collide. Okay, now be it elastic or inelastic, what happens during the collision? So during the collision they touch each other for a very brief time. During this time what happens is that part of the energy, part of the kinetic energy converted into potential energy. Okay, and then that potential energy again then converted back into kinetic energy, and then they starts moving. So during this small time delta t, the kinetic energy is actually not conserved, total energy is conserved. Okay, in elastic collision total energy is always conserved. Okay, but during the collision, brief time of collision, part of the kinetic energy is converted into potential energy, and then again potential energy converted back into kinetic energy. Okay, basically it's giving and taking. So during that time it is partly kinetic energy is not conserved. So this statement is also correct. This statement is also correct. So correct answer is 1, 2 and 3. Okay, it is not 1 and 2 only, it is 1, 2 and 3. Every statement in this question is correct. Okay, now next question, last question. This is 30, question number not 20. This is the last question of the day. The kinetic energy of a body of mass 4 kg and momentum 6 Newton will be. Again, this is a previous year question, I don't remember from which year. So if kinetic energy is asked, how to calculate? This is the reverse of the problem that we have solved. Here momentum is given, mass is given. They ask you what is kinetic energy. So kinetic energy is simply p square by 2m. Remember, this is one of the very important formula, and who knows, this year again they will repeat this formula back. Okay, this is one of the most repeated formulas of KCET. Okay, not only P1, P2 also. 36, because in the de Broglie wavelength, you know that wavelength is equal to h by p. Okay, sometimes they will say that 3 particles moving with same kinetic energy, who will have highest de Broglie wavelength. So those problems you always use this formula. Okay, so 36 divided by 2 into 4, so it will be 9. So correct answer is 4.5 joules. So kinetic energy is 4.5 joules. So option D is correct. Yes, I think most of you have correct answered it. Okay, so this is the end of today's lecture, and I hope you enjoyed. I enjoyed a lot. So if you have any doubts, any questions, please ask me in the comment section. I will try to answer them as much as possible. And if you, as I mentioned, someone was asking KC30, if you have any doubt related to KC30, please, technical details, please mail it to ask.edutube@diksha.learning.com. And if you want to enroll for KC30, then obviously the link is given in the description. Already more than 500 students have registered for KC30. KC90, the older batch, have more than 700 students. So total students strength is now more than 1200 students that we have currently. Okay, so I hope you will see me again. We are having back-to-back lives for YouTube channel also. So if you want to study from us in YouTube, obviously you can come and join us. If you want to, and these lectures are not only important for KCET, because KCET and Comet K are very close to each other. This will be helpful for your Comet K preparation as well. But some of the chapters in Comet K are slightly trickier, slightly lengthier, but that will exclusive chapters that along with the common chapters as well will be covered in Comet K batches as well. Okay, what is the difference between these classes and KC30? So in KC30 the lectures we are doing the lectures, we are doing specifically doubt clarification. So that for now, for example, you are asking, while I am asking, you are asking me doubt. Okay, but we have a specific doubt classes where students are coming up specifically with doubts only. We have lectures where we are giving you the sessions directly, so that if you have any questions during the lecture, suppose you have not understood, you can come ask us only during the doubt session. So that is more structured way. Okay, here also we are solving question, there also we are solving question. In that sense there is not much difference, but the classrooms are structured. So during the lecture there is no questions. We are taking specific doubt classes every day, every teacher is taking, so that whatever doubts you have, suppose I have a lot of doubt in physics but there is no one to solve, no one to ask, so we are here. I will try to help you as much as possible in KC30. I will try to help you here as well. The communication is not super with the YouTube. Okay, so we are excuse me, the communication is slightly better in KC30, where we can talk to you personally, and we can take your personal doubts, whatever doubts you might have. Okay, particular personal questions, personal subject wise question, okay, general doubt in some cases as well, but we do not encourage for general doubts. Okay, a lot of you have already have so many general doubts. That is the main difference. Structure is very good in KC30. Here also the structure is good, but only if you are serious. If you are serious, listen to me, that if you are serious, be it YouTube, be it KC30, you will score well. But if you are not serious, okay, and you want some extra push, some extra guidance, then you should join KC30. You can judge it by yourself. You might feel inside, you might feel I am not serious, but outside you show that I am serious, then you decide. Okay, so that is the major difference. Okay, see you in the next class. Till then, bye.